Reeves Gabrels, now that you're warmed up.
Oh, I'm not warmed up, but I'm awake.
Okay. Hey, everybody. It's Ken from Reverend Guitars. We are hanging out at beautiful Wildwood Guitars in sunny Louisville, Colorado. Got this amazing wall of amps behind us. That was just Reeves plugged into every single one of them all at the same time.
Oh, I wish.
We came out here today to talk to you a little bit about Reeves' signature model, Reverend, and how it came about and some of the different features of the guitar. We talked previously about the double agent that Reeves took home a few years ago, which kind of got us started down the path. And the double agent has a lot of the same features. The current version just has a P90 in the neck position. The original guitar that you got had a P90 in the neck position and a hardtail. And we've sort of taken that platform and launched into what we're doing now.
Yeah, it has, this guitar has a lot of the features that you find on every Reverend guitar, which is a nice thing that it's on every Reverend guitar, which is the bass roll-off, which on a guitar like this, it's got on my version, which has got a DiMarzio fast track in the neck and a humbucker, a Reverend humbucker in the bridge, which is like a hot PAF. You can actually thin it out so you get a little more if you're someone who likes to play country sometimes when you're not rocking out, or if you like to play country all the time, you can get that kind of like sound out of it. Just by rolling out the bottom end. If you listen to this chord, when I play it, I'll bring the bottom end back in. It's not a bass boost, it's a bass roll-off. Right now the bass is rolled off. And you can hear the increase in how it'll start to drive the amp. So, for those country gigs, you've got that option. And the other thing that this guitar has that you don't find on other Reverends, which is why you should buy this guitar, is you get this, what it is it's a phase switch. It's a true phase switch. It's not like when people talk about Stratocasters being out of phase. That's not really out of phase. This is true out of phase, and it's only apparent when you're running both pickups. So I'm running both pickups, say with the bass control up, and when the bass control is up, you're just simply bringing the bass level up to zero, up to where it would normally be if you didn't have it. If I bring in the phase, it's out, now it's back in. So it has this, which is really good for like, or if you take the bass out, then it's even more 345 Peter Green. If you add some gain, I'm not done.
Oh, and with the gain.
And with the gain, you get this really stinging sort of almost Brian May. You can almost hear that, you can almost hear the Bohemian Rhapsody kind of. Which is one of the reasons why I like it. And you were going to say?
I was going to tell you to turn that gain pedal on.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And
I'm a big fan of that sort of half-cocked wah thing that you can get
Yeah.
with the pickups out of phase and running the gain, because it really, especially if you're playing in a band situation, it cuts through a mix like crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, there's just no denying it. Without any like volume boost or anything, you're occupying this great like live band frequency thing.
And there's something that happens with the true out of phase setting when you get up above, what fret is that? The 18th fret, especially and then especially up to the 20th fret, the high D, that it just cuts like. Oh, I don't have it pulled out. Here it comes. You know, if you want to make a point at the end of the solo and it's an E or D, you're right there. And it will cut like nobody's business. And then the Reverend tone control, which it seems to be voiced perfectly to my ear. You can get a nice woman tone out of it, you know, that old Clapton. Or even Leslie West. Kind of thing. And then if you add the middle pickup, and throw in the out of phase, then you really get the cocked wah sound. And then rolling the bass control in.
Have you ever thought about playing professionally?
No. And last of all, and the newest edition at here, well, at Wildwood Guitars, there's the Turquoise finish, which is only available at Wildwood Guitars. I wish we would have thought of it sooner, but if you want it, you have to go to Wildwood Guitars. Look at that. Look at that. Flame for days. And now on the new, I guess, is it the RG2?
You know, it's just the updated RG1. Okay.
Okay.
All right.
That works for me.
Mm-hmm. To commemorate us starting this partnership with Wildwood, where we launched the custom color here of the guitar, we've also decided to add a Wilkinson trem to the Reeves model. We've been offering a hardtail for a couple of years now, which has done really well, but Reeves is getting back more into the trem side of his playing.
Yep. I had stopped playing with a tremolo.
And so we are, we have recessed the Wilkinson into the body a little bit so that you can get a lot of up pull and then do your flutter. Your flutter's where it's at.
Yep. One of the things it does too is it screws in. If you're like me and you don't like your bar to ride too high, it slides in, but then there's a screw that it fits into, so you can control whether it's loose or tight, and it'll flutter. Should we flutter with this? Flutter away. It flutters better with the tone rolled up. So for all the Jeff Beck fans, you can flutter to your heart's content.
So along with the Wilkinson trem, which is a great unit, all of the saddles lock down, so it becomes basically a solid mass without any loose springs or anything that's going to take away the sustain. And then Reverend also, we put a graphite nut and we put locking tuners on all of our models, whether they're hardtails or trems, so you can flutter and bury the strings and to your heart's content.
A really good
point. And the guitar will stay in tune famously.
A really good point. The locking tuning machines, there's something about, I believe, most tuning machines have a sort of convexness to it, so that the string wraps around and settles in a certain way, which is kind of an obsolete concept when you're using a locking tuner, because you're not going to put a lot of windings on it, so you're not worried about that. And there's something that happens, I think, with the fact that it's a solid shaft on the Reverend tuners, so that instead of being shaped like this, which we all like that shape, but instead of being shaped, it's better in the flesh than it is in metal. In this, it's just a solid shaft, and it creates a less of a sharp angle, I think, for the string when it turns in it, and these things just stay in tune like a mother. I mean, I beat the crap out of them, and I mean, you remember at one gig I looked up at you guys and I went, it won't go out of tune. So, you know, it's an awesome system, combined with this tremolo. No locking apparatus to deal with, none of that to fuss about, and
no wrenches to carry around.
And I don't know if you can see it from this angle, but the bridge rides flat because of the cutout. You don't have any of that angling up where the string is coming off funny. If you rest your palm on it, you're pushing yourself sharp. This just sits perfectly flat. For years, I used Kahlers back in the early 80s. And then I went to Steinberger because they had all these guitars that had roller bridges on them, because I like the bridge to be flat. And this has solved that. So I'm a happy guy with the Reeves Gabrels Signature model, available in turquoise, only at Wildwood Guitars. And I'm going to make it a little more noise.